This is the video for Learning Outcome 5. So Learning Outcome 5 is that you'll be able to understand health and safety and safeguarding in a school environment. This is an area that many school business managers are responsible for. Clearly it's governed by legislation, and non-compliance can lead to criminal proceedings and financial penalties, so its importance cannot be ignored. You'll look at the legislation that applies to school and some of the obligations placed on employers and employees by that legislation. You will need to find a copy of your own school's health and safety policy, as you will be evaluating it against advice about its structure and contents. You'll then look at how schools manage risk, the process for managing risk and the different types of risk that a school faces. When we think of risk, we often focus on the physical risks, such as slips and trips, as they may be the most common ones we experience. But there are many other types of risks that you need to be aware of as a school business manager. Strategic and financial risk, for example. The way your school deals with risk may vary depending on the type of school you work in. Academies will usually have an extensive risk register, but local authority schools may have less recorded for financial and strategic risks, as they're sometimes managed in conjunction with the local authority. When schools become academies, business managers need to become more skilled at assessing, documenting and dealing with the risks that schools face. The activities in this section will help you to look at the different types of risk that your school faces and assess the potential impact and probability. What would be the probability of a particular risk occurring? How likely is it to happen? If it happened, what would be the impact on the school and on the person involved? You'll also look at how risks are classified. Finally, in this section, you'll look at the risks related to safeguarding children and how safer recruitment forms part of a school's strategy for managing those risks. The government has specific policies that relate to this area, and if you haven't already, then you'll need to familiarise yourself with these in order to understand the requirements that schools have to meet. The task for this section requires you to give some evaluation. Remember that to do this effectively, you need to use an appropriate benchmark and give a view on compliance. As an example, when evaluating your school's approach to safeguarding and safer recruitment, you'll need to look at what government policy or guidance says should be in place, and then form a view on whether your school's approach for these two areas is robust and effective. Does it comply with what should be in place? And what's the evidence for your view on